Maybe.
Michael Causey, Wichita County Commissioner Court order. If y'all would please join me in prayer, please. Father God, we come to you this beautiful day in the season of growth and all, and we ask you that you guide each of us in our growth and our wisdom. You help us to meet the challenges of each day, and to ask you for the forgiveness we need when we fall short of that. Father, look after those that are in uniform and all, that serve and protect and take care of each of us. Father, we ask that you guide this country and the state as we approach the things that face us, and we look for your wisdom and your guidance. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. You join me in pledging allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Take a seat, please. My pleasure to help participate in our presentation of one of our employees who has been with us a while. George, would you come up here and join us? Yes, sir.
Well, we're honoring my assistant director, Ashley Coley. She's been with us a little over 15 years, and I'm finally getting around to having this presented to her. We might keep her on another day or two. She's pretty good old girl, so we love her to death. She's a big help to us and heads up a lot of projects in the IT department. Does us a real good job. Good.
Okay, I've got one. Well, you know, some people think people get keyboards to others do. Okay. Actually, for 15 years of service to Wichita County, congratulations on reaching your milestone service anniversary. Our organization is able to provide quality service to citizens of Wichita County. In honor of this service, we're pleased to offer you a choice of anniversary award as an expression of gratitude for the contributions. Appreciate it. Signed by George Crutchfield. And I appreciate those words. Like a number of years. Like, really, I remember 15 years ago, we watched you grow. Some of that was tough. But the product has come around very well. And you all have taken on a pretty high mountain to climb as a team and assembled a good group of people. We're looking forward to the fruition of that. We should be able to see all of that come together in the next 2 years. And that's just, thanks a lot for your personal and your professional doing with it. Thank you. Yeah. Usually members record and I do
Yeah. Thanks, Judge.
Make up the fines.
Yeah.
Follow that all. All right. Let's look at the consent agenda. I'm going to take number 4 off. We need clarification on that. I'm talking to a couple of you all about it. So it'll be removed. Anything else on the consent agenda?
Everything else looked good to me, Judge. I'll make a motion to accept our consent agenda.
Clarification on 14, what are we doing differently on that than the previous motion?
Just where it's being paid from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, got it. I didn't catch that, so.
Okay, the other thing on that, Commissioner and I looked over that office, and we're gonna meet with Mandy, but I don't think we're gonna do that full time. We'd like the approval of that, and that has come about due to some unfortunate things that happened in the office, and, but I think with some of the physical changes that we're gonna be in a position to only use that position half-time. But I appreciate the latitude to do that to meet those needs.
Just on a side note to that, checked on the glass this morning. You guys started it last week and did not finish it, but should be back this week.
Okay. Okay. The only other thing, those payments to Freeman in different years were all right, but I think you all have got to look at, I'm gonna bet you we possibly crossed the $50,000 threshold last year, and if you accumulate all the bills, it's a vendor, even though it's separate, they're different units, Commissioner.
We passed it right here. Right.
In 2017, we spent the bulk of the money.
Right. But I'm just saying, I would think between the job Commissioner Harvey did and the job you did, we probably crossed that. I don't know that for sure, but I know it's sure close. But I'm just saying, as you all look at that, you're headed into the summer and your paving projects, it's not each precinct, it's the county spending $50,000, but you have to then put it out for bid if that's anticipated.
Could we go ahead and draft that bid and go out for a grind?
Willie and I talked about just putting it in for the road materials for next year
Every year.
and do it, have it on the books. And
But if we could do it right now, where we got it.
Well, we started a new year, so we haven't spent anywhere near $50,000 this
You're
year.
spending about 10 right here.
Well, I know, but it's a long way from 50, so Commissioner Moller can still do this project.
Yes, he can, but
Still need to bid
you
it.
need to bid it, but you need to look at what are the total number of services you want. I wouldn't limit it to just the grinding, because you had more than just milling it up. You've had other services done.
Yeah, sometimes.
And it's that lump payment, it's kind of like the plumber. You don't separate each ball valve he replaces, it's paying the vendor. Is the interpretation we can give it.
by the way, there's a misspell on item 12, that's L-A-L-K road, not L-O-C-K. Just for clarification,
L.A.
L-A-L-K.
I didn't, that wasn't the way I had always spelled it, but I spelled it L-A-U-C-K.
No, that's not
That's
correct.
not right.
No.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Harvey, is there a second on the consent agenda?
Yes.
Any comments, questions from the audience? Motion by Commissioner Harvey, and second by Commissioner Beecham to approve all the items in the consent agenda with the removal of item number 4. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, item number 1 is review and approve the regular bills for payment.
Wait, Barry, wait,
What's that?
wait.
Any questions on the bills by anyone or comments by any bill? That Commissioner Waller?
I wish they were less. Is that a comment?
Wait a minute, that was comments. Did you want to make a motion to approve bills? We want to get you back on straight.
I don't know if it's time or not.
It's time.
Well, let's wait a little bit, make sure that we may be on.
Have a second, please.
Second.
Reluctant motion by Commissioner Harvey, Commissioner Waller, second by Commissioner Harvey. All in favor of paying the bills, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0.
Can we pay them under protest?
Yeah, I don't think there's any time we don't
I think that's nearly every week, wouldn't it?
Item 2, discuss, consider, take action to approve U.S. fleet tracking quote in the amount of $271.85 for a replacement of the PTV3 Pro tracking device to be paid from the DED forfeiture fund. Like a motion to approve this.
So moved.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask the comment question. Thank you.
I have a question too. I'm just wondering, who manages the software? Or who has access to it? Have you seen it in action, Maureen? I mean, or is it?
It's a monthly bill that we pay, and it's the same company we've used over the years, and we seem to be pretty happy with it.
Can you,
This is just replacement of the device.
but can you tell where, I mean,
Well, the difficult thing is discuss it in an open court, but certainly, if you, Commissioner Watts, if you'd like to discuss it in private.
But you have that software at your disposal. You take care of it up there.
Correct, it's all taken care of through
I'd
the
like to
forfeiture.
see
Sure.
that just from other functions that possibly are involved.
Absolutely.
They're kind of expensive to put on your sheet, but
Yeah, but there's a place for them, though.
yeah. Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried 5-0. Item 3, discuss, consider, take action to approve window tinting for the new DED truck at a cost not to exceed $400 to be paid from the DED forfeiture fund. Ms. Shelton?
Basically, it's what we do on all the vehicles, just with the Texas heat and all of that kind of stuff, whether it's DED or regular court investigators, we tint the windows.
Yeah. We just said overlook it in the original deal to do it, because it's done to all of them.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions?
Did we, I mean, we've gotten our truck and everything?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's ready to go.
Motion to approve, Judge.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Muller, second by Commissioner Watts to approve the item. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. Item 4 is discuss, consider and take action to approve for the American Glass Company in the amount of $307 to fix the windshield in one investigator vehicle to be paid from the criminal district attorney's asset forfeiture fund. Ms. Sheldon?
That's where the windshield had a probably 10-inch crack and from gravel, just from the investigator taking an attorney out to go talk to a witness. And so it's to replace the windshield, so it doesn't create a hazard.
Right. They can now patch, do that dust thing up to a dollar bill size.
This is a little bit longer.
A little longer, yeah, okay. Have a motion then.
So moved.
Second.
Are you gonna do discussion before motions or discussion after motions? We trying to
Oh,
learn.
I'm sorry. I thought I just didn't anticipate anybody, you got something to ask about?
No, we need to know.
Okay, I know, it's supposed to be before, that's all
It
right.
doesn't have to be done.
Anyone in the audience? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0.
You've done it after the motion for years, is that right?
No, it is, but usually what we try to do is get it done before, then you don't have the motion. If something's going to change, that's why Robert rules, and I don't agree on that. It takes more effort than to undo a motion and go back and get what would have been pretty obvious if you had discussed it.
But you can't discuss what the motion actually is until you make the motion.
Right.
So it's,
Yeah, but at least you get it
6 of
together.
one,
And then if somebody wants to withdraw it, you can. But we
Yeah.
don't hang up on that 2/3 and.
Right.
Yeah, right. We'd be here longer than.
yeah, wait till you get to amending an amendment. That's
Yeah.
when it gets real interesting. But anyway,
That may be why Congress needs it anyway.
I would agree.
Item 5, discuss, consider, take action to accept Texoma door and gate estimate number 1250 in the amount of $1,425 to replace the 10 by 10 foot sectional door with high lift track at the Sprague Annex with payment from 105/12.44/52 repair and maintenance building if accepted, and authorize Commissioner Lee Harvey to sign the acceptance. Commissioner Harvey, what's this about?
The door is just about to fall off.
Is this in the evidence room?
No, no. This is down there on the end where they go in and out every day. The door comes out of the track quite frequently. The track is so old, where the rollers have ridden on the track, it's wore through it.
Is this on
It's
the
like-
very end?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Darwin called me, he said, can you come here?
Southeast corner?
Yeah.
To the warehouse?
Yeah, it just needs to be replaced, that's all there is
It's
to it.
pretty,
What's not the original door?
It's pretty bad. I went, holy smokes, somebody gonna get hurt.
Okay.
So we got them out there and got an estimate.
Any questions or comments in the audience? Okay.
So
so moved. Or second?
Okay.
Motion by Commissioner Harvey, second by Commissioner Beecham. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 6, discuss and consider take action to approve a quote from Marvin Groves Electric in the amount of $25,648 for electrical work for the Sprague Annex Evidence Room project with payment from Permanent Improvement Fund. Quote does not include breakers for the 480-volt panel. Commissioner Harvey?
Okay, our previous electrician, we had to change. And this is a quote, we included in this quote the 480 hookups for the 2 package units, the air conditioning. Okay. The only thing is, Mr. Groves doesn't have, nor has he found the proper breaker for the panel. Different brand names of panel take their breakers, and this is not marked. I told him, he's well aware of exactly, it's not Square D, it's not Federal. So he said, look, until I figure out what breaker to buy, and they could be $300, $400 a piece. So what my point is, they're expensive, and he wanted to make it clear that his quote did not include those 2 breakers. So,
Now, which side of the 50-yard line are you on?
Sure to sign in.
on the outside of the building, well,
Are we on our electricity link? Are we on our electricity?
yeah, we'll be on our electricity.
Throw it out here on the Briscoe violation.
Not a risk of it not being that up there.
For what, charging $10 for it?
Yeah.
No, it's on our-
Fire doesn't come.
It's a room that we've had for years that we're gonna turn into a big evidence facility. Ballot racks, humidity controlled, what do you call that, long-term. There's vehicles over there that, according to Sheriff's Office, we probably will never get rid of them. And I said, why? Because they were used in murder cases and stuff like that. He said that maybe once the defendant is deceased, then we might be able to get rid of them. They've already had them for several years, and they look just like they did the day they were taken in. Got dust on them, but it blows my mind that we are required
Yeah, that's crazy.
there's like 4 vehicles over there that are ours, or now old, that they're wrecked, they're tore up, they're bloody, they got blood stuff all over them. I don't know why, after 10 years, move on. But that's not the way it works. So that's why our evidence lockers in the courthouse are full.
Okay. Do you have any idea what this nominal deal we started out with, $25,000 for electrical, for lights and outlets, or what are we talking about?
Running 480 to the air conditioners. The lights, they had the LED $195 a fixture or something like in there. And I rolled that back to the next level down. Which they don't need the That doesn't need to be lit 24/7.
Okay, but we're going through with an energy study of converting fluorescent to LED.
Yeah, this is not this is the high efficiency outlet, it's just not LED. So, there you have it. Want to do it or not?
I think that's in the category of asking the mother, do you want to deliver this baby or just carry it for the rest of your life?
I think we just carry it for a while, because once you get out, you can't put it back.
Without a project manager in there.
Yeah, exactly. Then the next thing we got a bid on is, or that we have a bid on, is the insulation, the spray foam insulation. So that puts the end of it, as far as I'm concerned. Then pallet racks and all that stuff are supposed to be coming off the 1033 program.
What do you estimate the total on that project, Lee?
I have no clue. It'll be less than the gun range.
Well, that's not.
Well, I'm sure feel good about that.
Sure hope so. You know, but I like to judge, that thing started off small and just got totally, I mean, $25,000 is a lot of money for electricity in a storage room.
I would be glad to let you take over that.
No, I'm
See if
not.
you can source a more economical electrical work. I'd be glad to give it to you.
Well, I was just curious, I guess those air conditioners came off the 1033.
One did. It looks like we're gonna have to buy another one.
Okay, so, and they would normally run off 480.
They do.
Yeah, okay. I thought that big, so,
To keep something we're not ever gonna do anything with.
It's crazy, isn't
It
it?
is, that's, I mean, that's my whole deal.
And they wanna keep the marijuana
To keep it fresh,
in a,
humidor.
kinda like that.
Kinda like that.
Because they don't want to breathe the fumes.
Right. That's why I like that, just ridiculous.
there's some merit to that.
And they have to have the dehumidifier in there because the guns rust.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
But now, just for vehicles will not be stored in there.
Yes,
be-
they will.
Yeah, they
I
will.
They will.
thought they were gonna be in the other building.
No,
No.
we're turning,
This is a long-range bulk storage.
this is the building that the vehicles have always been in. It's so big, we're gonna try to put everything in one place.
Okay.
You know, this is for the vehicles that we
Okay.
get.
All right. Any other comments, questions, anyone in the audience?
I'll make a motion, we accept item number 6 as stated.
So, should we make any allowance for those breakers, $2,000 or something, so we don't have to come back to approve those?
What is your experience with those records? How much can they be?
They can be very expensive if they're
Well,
no longer manufactured. I would put 1,000 each for them.
1,000, we'll take that recommendation.
Okay.
Up to 1,000 each.
And we may still have to come back and get them.
I certainly hope not.
I like not either, but
Hey, if it's more than that, we'll just hardwire the thing in there.
Yeah.
Gum wrappers.
Put a breaker,
put a penny behind it.
put a pin behind the view.
But there are resources
Get it
to
done.
find.
Okay. Motion as stated, plus an allowance up to $2,000 for the additional breakers. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. Item 7, discuss, consider, take action to accept First National Bank leasing finance offer for lease purchase of 2019 Mack truck from Bruckner's at a buy board price of $124,000 with $55,000 down payment and finance $70,245, including a $250 filing fee for a 5-year term, with annual payments of $15,555.77 starting on May 15th, 2018, and ending May 15th, 2023, with $1.01 balance with the down payment of the $55,000 in 2018 to be paid from Precinct 1, 2018 budget line 221-210.5001 capital expenditures, and budget line is signed by the auditor. Commissioner Beecham?
Yes, sir. Begin with, there is a typo. That date should be May 15, 2019 is the first payment being made. What we have two 10-yard dump trucks that are 20 and 22 years old respectively, looking at doing essentially what would equal to be like an 8-year program to replace both of them over time without raising any additional capital expenditure, keeping my capital line level. So in doing so, I can use what money I have right now in this year's budget to make that down payment.
How many miles on those trucks, those are bought?
They're 100 and...
Yeah.
Go microphone.
The 96 model is 135,000 miles, and the 98 is 126,000.
These are both 10 yards,
I believe they're 12.
well, but don't you have a 15-yard truck?
No, sir.
You don't own one?
No.
These are 12-yard tandems.
Yes.
Single.
And
Are you asking what we
Oh,
have
okay.
for tandems?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which one are you turning loose of?
Probably the 96.
We won't be turning loose of either one of them until we get the second one purchased. We'll keep the other one, so when we have breakdowns, we can go to the reserve unit. And when we get both of them purchased, we'll get rid of both of them.
But the one you're getting is only a 9-yard there?
I believe it's 9. I was talking with Commissioner Harvey earlier.
It's how big?
9 yard.
Why a smaller bed?
The tandems have its place. I mean, we get into situations to where the roads are, you don't have a 3-mile road, you know, you have a half a mile, 3/10, 2/10 or whatever, and those tandems sit aside. Now, they have their place. You know, a 3-mile road, you can go forever. Tandems are harder on the turns, they're harder to turn around. They roll rock, I mean, it's on and on.
You know, I've heard that story ever since I've been in road work, but if you look at the equipment utilizing your roads, there are a lot of tandem axle form vehicles out there, and you're gonna now put that on, that 9 yards on a single rear axle, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think your weight per square inch now goes to? Of tire surface on the ground?
I don't know.
It's pretty appreciable difference than when you're scattering over tandem axles over, 4 more tires. I'm just saying that to me.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that.
And
But I know that the difference between the tandems that we have now and Precinct 2 has those 9 yards, considerable. I mean, it's night and day difference. between,
okay,
yes.
you've got experience there I don't
Oh,
have,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
that seems to be working better and we've experienced it,
Yeah.
then why mess with it? Okay. Good answer.
Mark,
Sir.
this, and Willie, you may have to look it up for us, but we didn't give this much money for that tandem axle.
135,000.
Yeah, I mean,
135,000 for the tandem 15-yard.
so I'm losing an axle and 6 yards of hauling capacity, and I'm paying nearly the same thing.
Yeah.
I think they're ripping us off.
Well, them folks over Rutgers, you know how they are.
Well, I mean, a single axle chassis, I mean, there is a great difference of price between a single axle and a tandem axle chassis. To me, it's high.
Yeah. It's
I
Josh.
thought that right
Josh,
up.
give you the prices.
Josh gave me the prices, yes.
Who, is that the buy-board price?
That's the buy board price.
That can be dealt, you could work on that a little. And the other thing I was kind of wondering is, are we doing anything to go back and check and take proposals on the financial institutions? We haven't done that in a while.
Don't need to do that, right, Billy?
Well, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, Billy?
But Mark, I mean, I think it is worth a call to Freightliner or to Kenworth and say, because those trucks are in a line. I don't know when Josh said he could deliver this thing, but within 2 weeks' time for the Freightliner or Kenworth, you can drive off with the truck. The other day, I bought 2 Kenworths, and they had dump trucks on the line set and ready to go. They had put my beds on Kenworth chassis, but they had dump trucks set and they're ready to go. The last time Josh showed us that 15-yard truck, then they went out there from scratch and built that sucker, and it took 6 months to get it. I'm all for a Mack chassis. They're a good chassis, but they are also the highest ones on the list as well. I just think he's gouging us, or somebody is. I don't know what the markup is, but there shouldn't be $6,000 worth of difference between them two chassis.
You think it should be more difference?
There should be a great difference. I would think this chassis should be closer to
Well, it's
$100,000.
more than that, it's nearly 10, isn't it?
Well, we gave 130,
135.
Oh, I think 135 and 124.
$1,000
Well,
difference.
it's one, he likes $5 being 125, so, you know, you're talking about $10,000
$10,000,
difference
yeah.
for 6 yards less and 1 axle less. Now, the 1 axle, Leon's saying is not a bad idea, the truck works better, but the 9 yard, but that price, I haven't bought a truck in a long time, so I don't know.
I have no issue with going to look at other manufacturers.
I'll give you two. It might be worth just getting the price to compare now and see. I'm all for Mack chassis. I don't have any problem with that at all, but that value and pricing, I feel like it's awful high compared to what they charge us for that other one. But I didn't like the fact, when's he saying he'll deliver this truck to?
I didn't have a delivery date on it.
Because last time it took him 6 months to get us that 15-yard truck for precinct 5, and it should be built and ready. Was this that same bed, Leon? Do you know that we put on the same bed company?
As far as I know, it was supposed to be exactly like precinct 2 has.
Except the Mack.
Except the Mack, correct.
What were
I think
precinct?
you have Freightliners.
We have internationals.
International.
And Mr. Watts had lots of trouble with his international trucks, and we have just been fortunate.
Well, you got overmodel internationals too.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah, before the government fixed them.
yes. So we're okay. Can we make a motion to approve up to 125,000, up to 125,000, or do you want to just table it and go back?
I think we ought to take it off, if Commissioner's, if that's agreeable with him, it's his item. If he wants to take it off, go back and do some comparison and come back.
I'll give you a couple of names, Mark.
I can do some comparison. That's fine with me.
It's all right to remove it then.
That's what, we can remove it for the day. We put it back on next
I
week.
bet your price comes down once you have 2 chassis that are cheaper.
Okay, however you get there. The other thing, I would ask that we, that's mine. I don't know what you did with it. How about right there?
Stop hiding it from me.
Yeah, in front of you. Male pattern blindness is what I call that. But, all right, okay, so we're gonna move that item, we're gonna go back and see and do some price comparisons. I appreciate you coming with the information on the mileage on the vehicles. You know, we often ask a lot of other people that and then fall short of knowing that up here. All right, you had it. Okay, so that's good. Thank you, Leon.
We go there.
All right. Item number 8.
Before we go on there, Judge,
Yes, sir.
let me address this deal.
Yes, sir.
You know, you guys, you ought to be using your department heads. This is right up my alley. Because the county treasurer, whoever it is challenged to save the taxpayer money. Now, we have a bank depository that we need to utilize at every convenience, because let me remind you, about 10 years ago, we got in a financial situation that we had to have money, and we put out for a loan, And American National was the only one that stepped forward to pick up that loan.
Come up here to the mic,
Yeah.
so I can hear you, please.
Okay, where do you want me to start over again? Good morning? Or
Yeah, something.
Well, I want to be Nancy Gray. We're here. The county treasurer is to be used by you guys to run this stuff down. Instead of micromanaging, utilize your department heads.
So would you help us with the
Man,
negotiation with the trucking?
that's what I'm here for.
No. He's talking about the financial part of it, the
Yeah.
lease, the deal.
Leasing.
And what I would appreciate, Bob, work with Willie, and let's put together something, go out for that. We ought to do that annually on those.
Every
at
time.
least.
But.
Or even every time.
The bank depository, though, has been, more than generous, and they've always been faithful. And I'm not talking against the other banks here in this area, but we ought to give them at least an opportunity. Our job is to save money.
Yeah.
Sure.
And when I reached over and Mike Cuba and Billy here, that's what they do. They're there to save us money. And I'll do that with legwork for you. And I'll get you bids.
Well, I think that'd be great.
I do think that'd be great.
Very good.
And you guys are busy. You don't be chasing down every one of these little
But
items.
you've got the relationships and the ability to get more participants possibly in that, and so that'd be good. More the merrier.
Well, I want to do that. And the county treasurer should be utilized.
Do we use you like a purchasing agent?
No.
Well,
You don't want to make.
on this,
Only if I change my name to Willie Wall.
Yeah.
on this particular deal, Mark, do you know why he wanted so much money down instead of just,
That was me using my capital money that I have available.
is there anything wrong with just dividing it up equally across 5 years?
I want to keep the payments low so I don't affect my capital over time. So I have more money in future years.
Well, I mean, it's the same money, isn't it?
It's the same money, but I'm trying to keep my capital expenditure budget the same year after year without raising additional capital.
The loan is less.
I have that money available right now. I'd rather spend what I have right now instead of asking for more in future years.
If you don't use it, you leave it.
No.
I don't think so.
No, but I don't want to continue to raise my budget year after year after year.
Oh, I see.
Budget
I want to keep my budget at the same level.
Well, because he just financed the difference between 55 and 125. So what is that, 65? It's all finance, where otherwise it's financed another 125,000.
$1 and penny balance.
Willie, how are we,
All right, yes, Lee.
how are we accounting for, that's going in the interest and sinking fund, correct, when we do these lease purchase agreements? Or not?
It's long-term.
Okay. How are we putting money into that? Are we using tax money? Are we using transfers from road and bridge accounts into their?
Transfer from road and bridge to the debt service fund.
Okay.
Can we use 409 to do that with?
No. 409 is my money.
It's
Money.
It's INS laws, Judge, but it's only the 15,000 annually transferred to INS.
Yes.
That we would
Yeah.
finance.
Yeah, because that came up in one of the budget classes Nancy and I were in, when we was talking about how some of that's handled. And I also, that light came on, I'm wondering, okay, are we transferring tax money into there? Are we transferring from, because you all get very little tax money. And what we do is we give you back out of the general fund that roughly $800,000 a year off a license plate income that Tommy's award-winning office gets for us. So,
But this was my very question.
Silver.
This was my question, Willie, Friday. If, for example, Mark had budgeted capital expenditures of $125,000, we financed the truck, the overage, it's not it's not considered to be to the good because we didn't spend or have a capital outlay of $125,000, but only $55,000, are we calling that freeboard money part of our excess fund?
No, it's not free money. It stays in the road and precinct 1 road and bridge fund balance.
Okay.
So you do not deplete the fund balance.
Okay, so when we're talking about budget overage from last year, we're talking the general fund only.
Well, we look at each fund individually, but the general fund is the one that, since it has the tax rate, it has the budget surplus, if any, or vice versa.
Well, would we consider it encumbered, even though it's still in that budget?
The difference between the total budget and the revenue budget is the encumbered balance from the general fund, or any fund.
What, we have all these different funds. Let's just take courthouse security being one. There's money that's by statutory requirements deposited in there off our court fees. It goes in there. We don't zero it out, but we draw money over then to pay the personnel or buy equipment. So theoretically, that's encumbered for that transfer over there to make it. It's not done with tax dollars. But you've probably got 15 funds that do like that.
But I guess my question was that if your revenue exactly matched your expenditures, but because of a delay in capital expenditure this year that you had budgeted for as an expense, and you covered with revenue coming in, but you delayed that $1 million, would you call that an excess of $1 million at the end of that budget year because you didn't spend it?
Well, each budget year stands on its own, but for the year you don't spend it, it falls out to the fund balance. So you increase the fund balance instead of staying even or going down.
In general fund money. Let's say you transferred road and bridge money, then you had unexpected income come in. If you, for some reason, paid that out of your operating instead of out of there, that money would sit there unless you transferred it back, which is there's some requirements to do that, and once you put it in the interest and sinking fund, or you would just simply delay that and make the next year's payment out of it, not transferring more in there. Once you put it in interest and sinking, you've got a higher hurdle to climb to take it out of there unless
You
you pay
can't
it.
take it out of there as long as there's debt owed against it.
Right.
You can lower your interest in sinking, but I just want to make sure I'm clear over that overage, because in fact, what should have been even because of finance or lease payments or lease purchase agreement, we came out ahead, but that's not really an excess because we encumbered to spend money on behalf of the county, at least that volume of money plus over a period of time. You follow me?
Yeah, it's just like you have budgeted buying a new car at home, and you put all the money over there, and you only pay it out $300 a month, but every bit of that money is going to make that payment. So even though it's sitting in the bank, it's already obligated, and it's not excess money.
That's right.
Like our Lindemann
It's
building.
encumbered every year.
It's encumbered every year.
And Judge, I guess at one time, there was some advantage to having money in the I&O as opposed to the general fund, but that's really not true anymore, is it? I mean, it doesn't avoid the cap. You know,
Well,
you don't,
the taxation does.
that's right.
You know, James Frank jumped on us 2 years ago because he said, well, y'all went over the 8%. Well, James, you need to read the rules your friends wrote. And we,
It does have some advantage there.
Yeah, over there, when you're adding to it.
That's right.
But when you're doing fund transfers,
Right.
it doesn't
It does not.
affect the taxes.
Yeah.
it's kind of a one-way street. You want to be sure you're going to spend out of it when you put into it what you intended when it's a transfer.
Okay.
But you could keep it there and use it the next year if for some reason you paid out of current cash on an obligation. But- Okay. Ready to move on to item 8?
Yes.
Get some vinegar, girlfriend.
As soon as I get out of here, I'm going to the doctor.
That wasn't motion, was it?
No, we didn't have enough discussion. Okay, item 8, discuss, consider, take action to approve the purchase of 3 conference tables and 12 chairs for the second floor mezzanine at a total of $3,058.16 to be paid from the permanent improvement fund. Commissioner Beecham?
Yes, sir. This will be for, at the old main entrance, where we had that big conference table and the 2 Dairy Queen booths. It will be to get rid of those and put
I certainly hope we do get rid of the,
we're getting rid of the Dairy Queen booths and the big conference table. These are, I wouldn't call them conference tables, but they are designed for a lobby type area, with seating that would be sturdy, rigid, and last a long time and look like it
They're
belongs
steel
there.
mesh colors, they're gonna be nice,
They are.
complement the paint job.
It was, Congress picked out to complement what we're doing down there. So-
Now, those other chairs, well, that is enough chairs to service 3 tables. though.
Yes, it's to service those 3 tables. We looked at 4 originally, but thought it might get a little cramped in there if we put 4, so.
Well, is there any,
it's like where the.
on this next issue, Mark, is there gonna be some chairs left?
Yes, we need 10 for the 3rd floor
That's what we're talking about.
to finish everything on the 3rd, and then what leave us 5 for.
Because they would like to have a bench or 2. If you stand at the bottom of the stairs and look down towards Gary Butler's courtroom, the benches are too close together and they, of course, are not the same style.
Yeah.
So they don't really look good and they look a little cramped. They would like to have a bench or 2 on the CD side for grand jury waiting area type stuff.
There's more of these under 9 available. We can talk about under 9. There's 40 of those available.
Okay. Well, I just didn't know what would fit, because being cramped, it's too cramped up going down that hall right now. It just doesn't look cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll make a motion, we accept item 8.
Second.
Any other questions, anyone in the audience or comments? Okay, motion by Commissioner Watts, second by Commissioner Beecham, to approve the item as stated. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0. Item 9 is discuss, consider, take action to purchase 15 chairs for the 2nd and 3rd floor waiting areas at a cost of $105 each, for a total cost of $1,575 plus freight to be paid from the permanent improvement fund. Commissioner Beecham?
These are again similar to the ones we purchased a few weeks ago. They're black leather lobby chairs. They are used, but they're in near mint condition. Looking around on the 3rd floor this morning with jury duty, basically every chair was full, but we still have the conglomeration of everybody's used office chair, everyone's rolling chair. Would like to make it all uniform and look like a real courthouse.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nice and a very good buy.
Yeah, very good. I think these are actually a better quality than the previous one we bought. And again, there are 40 available if you want to put some down in your area.
How do you determine that? What would be best suited? And y'all know what I mean, if you step down those stairs?
We asked Donna Murray, and she tells us what's best suited, because we don't know. But
You know, there
that's
are
what
other
she
dealers
does
in
for a
town that would
living.
like to tell you that too. There are other dealers in town that would like the opportunity to tell you that too.
All they gotta do is come on up here like she does and call on us. Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
But you see what I'm saying, that the benches all look very good and they're very well done, but because they're different style,
Yeah.
if you look down there, it looks, it's full and they're cramped side.
We can kind of inventory those benches and try to group them in like.
Yeah, that would be really nice if we could do
We
that.
can do that.
Share it up a little bit. They have a used, something in the DA's office they're gonna put down there outside that grand jury deal, but those wooden ones would be more ideal if we can replace some of the seating, because I know there's times that seating gets pretty full, but if we could use these chairs that look more modern. And
You want to add some additional to this for that?
would you look at it, Mark, and just see what you think? I mean, I don't want to put so many chairs that it looks the same as four of the benches, but I do think that I'd rather sit in a chair waiting in a crowded area than I had in a bench beside somebody I don't know. You know? Well, then that brings to, on this point here, in looking at that, there were two things when we went down there and talked about the painting that went with this renovation where these chairs are going. There is some hotter than hell pictures going down both sides of that wall. Do they belong to someone?
They belong to us.
So we're just gonna need to take them, stack them for a little bit while we paint. And there were only two boards up there. Gary has a little larger board, and Judge Dockery didn't have quite as large of one. Do we have any easels in stock anywhere that are setting that we could place those notice boards on?
Yes, Joyce has some easels.
Come back to me.
A box of several easels right here.
Okay, so we could get by with that.
The only problem with putting the easels out in the hallway, people
They get
manage
knocked
to
over.
tangle their legs around them, do stuff. Just saying that, and then you've got the people doing the maintenance have got to move them, you just create problems.
Well, it's just for 2 or 3 days.
Oh, okay, is that all?
So we
Okay.
can
All
paint.
right, good enough. Thank you, that'll work.
And it's only for the notifications.
Okay,
I just hate to not have something up that's
No,
supposed to be
that-
posted.
that's good, I didn't know how long that was gonna last, so.
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Beecham to approve the item as stated. Is there a second?
Second.
Sir?
Are we clear on how many to purchase now? Do we want to look at purchasing additional ones for the DA area?
I think that might be a possibility. Should we just do this one and then replace another one, or?
I think I have to look at it, determine, and then come back.
Okay, all right, we can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments or questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. We're down to public comments. Anyone in the audience? Mr. Crutchfield.
Judge, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce Vanessa Gomez, our new hire. She's comes to us from Tower Technologies, and she has hit the ground running and been going hard and heavy, and this is the first opportunity we've actually had to come up and introduce her properly. So I apologize for the delay, but she's been a little busy.
Well, I know she has. I met her that first day when you've probably been here a couple days, but you had the major outages and everybody was doing everything and all. But the nice thing is she now lives back in Electra, Texas. And tell us a little bit about you.
I'm lived in Electra, grew up there, graduated in Midwestern, graduated there. And then from there, left and lived in Dallas for working for Tyler for 10 years. But decided to come back home because all my family's here. So it's just, easier to see them and be around because me and my husband didn't have any family really in that area. So came back and we're happy here. So
Now, any kin to Mario or Sabina?
yes,
How are you related?
Mario's my cousin and Savina is my aunt.
Oh, wow.
How do you know them?
Well, Sabina cleans precinct 4.
Oh,
And Mario runs the leases beside precinct 4 there, and he runs shotgun interpretation needs I
Yeah.
have from time to time.
he's
so.
been doing that since he was little.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are, she's my aunt, he's my cousin.
Okay. Great.
There is a relation.
Just so you'll know that whenever we got passed around your resume from George, hey, we were all like stealing candy or something. We feel like we were getting something. It's like, man, this is perfect for us. You've been with Tyler for 10 years and we're implementing Tyler. And I just want you to know, we were tickled to death that you chose to come to work here. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate the opportunity. I saw an open position and I've jumped up Friday actually, like 3:30.
Sounds like it was a win-win
Yeah, it
situation
was.
for me.
And I was like, oh, I'm not gonna make it up there in time to turn in resumes, so Monday I went. So I was tickled to death to see it as well.
That's
And I'm
awesome.
very happy.
We're glad to have you with us. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
George, could you comment on what you sent us this morning? I didn't know.
It's the last upgrade that our antivirus software did, it started sending out a weekly report for a number of infected machines, things that are quarantined, things of that nature. And that's just a summary of what we've had.
So
for
you
last
go,
week.
if somebody shows up on it, you're finding that problem and get killed in the.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I actually get one on a daily basis,
Okay.
and we try to get those machines cleaned up, and then I just thought it'd be a good idea to forward y'all the weekly summary report for that. And when we get the new firewalls up and running as well, we'll start putting out more reports for what we're seeing coming across the internet usage, threats, things of that nature. So it's going to be very good.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So, again, on the other hand, it goes to show, regardless of everything that we have in place to prevent it, we still have trouble. We still get issues.
Yeah.
So, thank y'all.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
Do you want to introduce Sam?
But you know,
Sam, one last thing, since we hired Vanessa, Sam has almost stopped rubbing this eye and it doesn't twitch as bad.
well, you know what, I'm ready to balance it out with Cody. Cody, now you've got Sam and Samantha, so you.
Really. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
You know what, I wonder, did you say Sam or Vanessa?
I
Samantha?
thought you said Vanessa.
Okay,
It's Vanessa.
well, okay, I thought that man, I even played my ears out this morning.
She looked at you like you was some white-haired old judge.
Yeah, well, we'll just change her name. I can do that, I can sign that.
That's happened a number of times already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. In different states.
all right, anyone else? Okay. Bishop Beecham.
We had a good time Saturday at the Museum of North Texas History Car Show, the Susan Kemp Car Show. I don't know exactly how many entrants, but I think there were over about 70. Quite a few really amazing vehicles out there. Learned something new, that Lloyd Ruby was not the first Wichita to participate in Indy 500.
Really?
Really, it was a gentleman by the name of George Beringer, and he had one of his cars that was on display. It's been brought here and restored. An old Ford from the 30s, I believe, so I was very unaware of that, so pretty interesting. So very good fundraiser for the museum. Glad I've got to participate in that. Also would like everyone to remember Deputy Melvin Joyner in their prayers this week. His father passed away.
Oh,
Big Melvin, I know that.
Big Melvin. Gosh.
Now, he was a character,
Yes.
without a doubt.
Remember Willie?
Anything else, sir?
No, sir.
Okay, Commissioner Hart.
Just want to remind everybody about the Cajun Fest that's coming up May 12th. The the Redneck Culinary Academy's gonna cook about 3,000 pounds of crawfish, and we want you to come eat. That is May the 12th, Cajun Fest, downtown Wichita Falls. This last Saturday, we had Dancing Through History, which was a fundraiser for the Senior Citizen Center. They attempted to break a Guinness Book of World Records. I think they didn't quite get there.
That's tougher to do than you think. You guys tried that with the pancake deal, didn't you, James?
Yeah, and we came in second, and then Lubbock the next year just drowned us.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think, oh, well, we'll get to do that. That's not easy to do.
No. Commissioner Mahler?
Just very busy out in the precinct, a lot of road prep going on. We're doing a number of drainage projects right now that have been needed, and hopefully we'll have some rain to try them out here in the next few weeks, but just want to be cautious if you're out driving. Our hands are out there working, and they sure would like to go home to their families end of the day. And just to comment, Judge, if I could, on a comment that was heard on a talk show over the weekend. I heard it, but with all the discussion going on about the bond issue for the city, gentleman called in a radio show and he made the comment that the reason we have to spend the money to build these new buildings is we never do any maintenance. Y'all ever heard that comment before from the public? And I didn't. It just jumped all over me, especially in the fact that the amount of money that we have spent in this county over the last 12 months on maintenance, HVAC, just eating us alive, roofs. It seems like we've got $1 million roof project on the table all the time. You know, we've got 3 full-time maintenance people, and I mean they're busy, and we've got an opening for another one that we're going to fill here in the next few weeks, hopefully. We've got 2 full-time maintenance guys in the jail, and they stay busy all the time. We've got jail work crews that work, and numerous outside vendors, HVAC, electrical. Well, we just approved a big electrical deal this morning and all that. I mean, maintenance is just ongoing. It is much harder to keep one of these older commercial buildings up and running with the kind of traffic that they see and the kind of use that they see. It's so much harder than at home. And it just bothered me when I heard that comment, because I don't want people to think that, well, you just let those things run down and then you want to build a new one. And that's kind of a common comment. Trust me, we take our maintenance very serious. We've got some very good people that work on it day in and day out. And it just bothers me that perception is out there. Just my comment.
Commissioner Muller, are you finished with your drainage project?
Which one? We got about 3 or 4 going.
Where is the old Great Hall?
We're trying to get it back up and going right now.
Oh, it's not running right now? Okay.
Yeah, we've got 3 pretty big ones going on right now. One of them in cooperation with the Water District that's going to make, I think, a drastic change out in that Wellington, Huntington area. We found an area that had some major blockage that's going to put a bunch of that water back in a better location and not run it through wherever it is. I think it's going to make a deal. We work with the City of Iowa Park on one to help our right-of-way and their right-of-way, and we've just about got it completed. And then we've got another one going on. That's not counting the major one that Jeff has. So we're trying to get some of those straightened up right now. But we've got about three big ones going. Hopefully be through in the next week or 2.
Mr. Watts?
I wanted to find out if there was any, when we toured the second floor and how we were coming off, I don't know if y'all looked at the ramp and how that's all tying in, and the rail should be in very shortly. How would anyone feel about the disappearance of that glassed-in thing?
The diorama down there?
You know what I'm talking about?
Where?
The deal with, the glass deal with the old courthouse buildings in it?
Old courthouse in it, could that be something the museum would take and display? And we keep the bronze statue and make a nice display area for it on
What's the other bothering there? I mean, are you gonna put the bronze statue back right there, or?
Not right there, Judge. I was thinking maybe on the wall somehow to take it out of the flow of traffic, but where the tables are gonna go, it just kind of gives us more room. We're a little hindered with that old piece there that takes up quite a bit of space than you realize. I don't know if anybody,
Would it do well to look at, when you go down those wide stairs, and you got that kind of open area down there towards the glass, would that be an appropriate? Because that has some interesting history in it for people to look at, and to lean on, and
but it could be. I can't see that floor space in my mind exactly right there, but we can measure it and kind of see what the easy to get there.
yeah.
We should measure it and narrow it, find out what will fit there.
Narrative.
Right, yep.
That,
I can't reach him where I'm slapping.
yeah. Well, that would be,
Now you've gone to meddling.
And you could check with the archives gentlemen or with the museum and just see if they would want it there.
who did the original old courthouse deal,
If
Judge?
it doesn't say on there, Willie might know.
Do you know who made that model for us of the old courthouse? Or-
I think Lita Watson got it in, but I'm not sure who did it.
Who did the bronze statue?
Jack Stevens.
Oh, it's Jack Stevens. Yeah. Oh, good. Well, that should be, all of that should be starting to wrap up in the next couple of weeks, real quickly, so.
Well, they were wanting to get settled in there before we did the west end, all of that, if they can get into there. If we get the punch list. get it all
Maureen
done.
said, we met with Donna, she wasn't, and she had a good reason. She said she wished she'd have done this grand jury deal after they had quite a few, it just wasn't right, and then had to get them to come back and fit it to that room. But she said she'd rather her people move down there, utilize their stuff they have. Now, LaDonna and Deborah's desk, one of them or both of them, are kind of affixed to, their cabinets and
Right.
So I don't know about those. She thought she had some other, but she wanted them to try the offices first to see which, they end up going this way and facing this way, and then they want to turn, and then nothing fits that they bought. She just didn't think that we should do any of that until everybody's very comfortable and where they could situate.
Yeah, but once again, and that same thing, Midwest has sent inquiries saying, could we have a shot at these things? I think that we ought to look at competitiveness of some of this furniture stuff.
They're a waste company.
Well, but they take the old furniture out of the dumpster.
Yeah.
We refurb.
Classic.
The only thing that we don't have, and there were some small tables Donna had got for DA's office or something, I forget, they may try, but that lobby when you walk into Meredith and Deb's and LaDonna's area, we don't have anything. They kind of have a workstation area, smaller conference table right there. We really don't, unless they find that and can utilize what they've got, we might not have something to go ahead and equip that room with. But she didn't want to put anything in the additional space in the grand jury room or anything. She wanted to just hold it tight. And
We got a nice conference table we can give you out of the lobby.
yeah.
That isn't, if it were redone.
If it were redone, it's a heavy piece of furniture.
It's got a Formica top on that table. Was that put on later? Do you
I would
remember?
bet. I'd bet.
I bet you there's a nice oak table underneath
You
that.
you could use that table for a car lift. I really would.
It's
I
heavy.
think it's heavy.
them.
Okay. Pay attention, please. We have meetings the rest of this week. On Tuesday, May 1st, we start off at 9 o'clock with the Helen Therapy Center, 9:15 with Children's Aid Society, 9:30 with foster parents, and then 2:30 with Patsy's House. And then on Wednesday, both days we have general budget discussions, but we have child advocates at 10, teen court at 1:30. And then on Thursday, May 3rd, general discussions in the health district at 10:30. And then Friday will be the normal 10 a.m.
Bills discussion.
Bills and the staff reports.
What's this afternoon, Judge?
Nothing.
Nothing this afternoon.
Doctor's appointment.
Just so you all got the same letter I did from a gentleman that's moved here from Harris County. And
Yes.
I'm getting some information to go back to him. I'm not understanding why people 65 over don't have, in Harris County, one place he referenced like $160,000.
I couldn't make the math work in
I
that.
couldn't either.
I worked on it, and I couldn't get there.
And I was having a little trouble, but what he sounded like, anybody with $160,000 or less home didn't pay any taxes if they
Because they
were
had that much of a,
homestead exemption. I will get the information put together,
I'd like to
but
see
he needs
that.
to look at the difference in population,
Yeah.
especially the difference in tax base. But quite frankly, anytime we give one group or person a tax abatement, or we change they don't have to pay taxes, everybody else pays more.
that's right.
Moves over on it.
People
And-
don't understand that.
And it doesn't mean they expect any less services,
No.
so,
The expense just doesn't go away. Somebody's got to pay the tab. That's what's surprising to me is that, that was fairly written that way, that he thought,
the cities ought to be trying to get something from, we have a lot of nonprofits do great things, but they expect all of the services. Maybe there ought to be some kind of minimum payment in lieu of, that they at least help offset city costs for fire department and police, but that's not in there. And I'm not saying anything close to the amount of taxes, but it means everybody else pays. Years ago, I did a study, and if you took away all the exemptions in this county at that time, 15 years ago, you would reduce the tax rate by 17 cents. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, and I think the thing that people fail to realize, we take a group of individuals and we just assume that it is a burden for them to pay their property taxes, and that's not necessarily always true.
Well, in that gentleman's case,
It can be true.
he do the deferred tax thing, not pay anything until it passes, when he sells it.
Can't group the ability to pay with age, with, marital status. I mean, we tend to do that, and that's really not always a good reflection, so it's just hard to.
But Judge, what's involved with that reversal?
With what reversal?
With the reversal of the exemptions, what has to happen? When you say 17 cents, that being from a county.
Oh, it would have to be done by the legislature. We can give
We give 18,000.
homestead, and we can give over 65. We don't give that, we do allow homestead exemption. But the general category of where the most deductions and all are, okay, we have a great deal of change in supporting veterans, but when we went to 100% disabled veterans, I thought, well, that won't be a lot of money. It was. And what we actually lost in tax revenue was better than $100,000, which then meant that was shifted to everybody else.
Well, we want to honor them, but I think the question becomes, is that the best way to do it?
Yeah.
And I can't answer
Was the
that.
17 cents scattered across 3 entities, or was it?
No, it was just
county?
Wichita
It's
County.
county. That's huge.
But how much of that could we affect?
None.
There's
There's not any of that I can recall that we could change. But it was strictly those property values that were exempted by some statutory exemption. Now, it may have included I can't tell you, it's been too long, whether it included the homestead exemptions and all, but that's a minor part of it.
Well, that's a big number.
All right. It's 11:16 and we're adjourned.
Nigga, you gonna walk over there to Tommy's?
That's all right.
Drive.